Wi-Fi receiver trying to get a better signal. You are the tower. Stop walking around like the power's in the router. The power's in you. You know, we're not here to force life. We're here to open to it. And when we become clear, when we become still, when we become aligned, life isn't just living us. We're not just living life, but life starts to happen through us. We become a portal for divine intelligence and love and beauty to flow through us. And in this way, life stops happening to us and begins to happen through us. Welcome to Walking the Path. Today's talk is the fourth in a series on becoming a beneficial presence, becoming a stabilizing presence in a world in crisis. So I'm so excited that you're here. And I'm here, obviously, at Rythmia. And at Rythmia, in ceremony, we don't just receive healing. We help dissolve the blocks that keep us from our true essence. And in that surrender, we become portals. We become portals for spirit to flow through, to move through. We become living, breathing instruments of truth and clarity. And that's what this talk is really all about, that we're not here to heal. We're not here just to heal, but we're here to transmit. And once we remember the truth of who we are, then we become a living portal for the divine to move through. I love this Rumi quote, that the universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself, he says, and everything you need and want is already there. Rumi, 12th century. 12th century? I think so. 13th century, 1200s. That's what it was. So far in this journey that we've taken, the three previous talks, the first talk was, the whole series is on becoming a stabilizing presence in a world in crisis. The first talk was on the field, that there's a unified field, one unified source through which everything is emerging. The second talk, we talked about disrupting the pattern and how we forget our true nature and how that happens and how to disrupt it. And then the last talk last week was on the myth of separation, healing the illusion that we're separate from source and separate from others. And so once we heal that illusion of separation, once we remove the blocks, when the illusion dissolves, we don't just go back to normal, but we become open channels of energy. So that's what I really want to talk about today, becoming a portal. So how do you become? What does it mean to be a portal? Well, we think that we have to do more, right? Achieve more, fix more, be more, become something, right? In order to be of service or to make a difference. But if we look at the Rumi quote, it's already within us. Being a portal isn't about effort. It's about remembrance and removal. But remembering who we are and removing the blocks that keep us from seeing that. We don't just force spirit to flow through us. We can't make it happen. Reverend Michael has a great statement. We don't make it happen. We make it welcome. We don't force spirit. We get out of the way. We clear the stuff that's interfering. And what remains is the transparency of being. It's like a window, right? Like, let's say we come in, our soul is like a clear pane of glass. And then we go through life and mud and bugs and stuff and grit and grime and muck get on there. And it doesn't limit spirit. It doesn't limit light. The light never changes. But our ability to have the light flow through us, the ability for that window to allow the light to flow through gets diminished. So that's what happens when you remove the blocks within us. It's like cleaning that window. So you're not becoming something new. You're already always that. You were already the pane of glass. You were already a clear pane of glass. Just stuff that's not you got mucked up on top. And so in ceremony, breath work, meditation, affirmative prayer, all of these processes help us to remove, to clean that window. And that allows the light, the truth, the intelligence to flow through us. We become an opening for the divine. We become a portal for divine love, beauty, order, harmony, intelligence to enter the world through us. And this is not bypassing. It's not spiritual detachment or ignoring the pain of the world. This is embodied surrender. And it's rooted so deeply in presence, right? In that we become, like the eye of the storm, calm center, a beacon. This is really the key to becoming a portal. There are specific qualities to becoming a portal. The first quality is stillness. And stillness isn't just the absence of movement, it's the presence of depth. It's like, still waters run deep, baby. When we're still, we can finally hear the frequency of spirit. When we're not still, what is there? There's all the mind chatter and stuff that's going on, and we're pumping stuff into our heads and social media and information and data and movies and all this stuff. Can't hear spirit in the midst of all of that. But when we become still, we finally get to be a space. We can finally hear that still small voice that's within us. So stillness, there's a beautiful ancient statement, be still and know that I am God. Just be still and know that there is something that's always shining, always bright, always transmitting, always transmitting. Sun is always shining. Sometimes we just got to open the curtains, right? Sun's always out there. We just got to open the curtains. Be still and know that I am God. Stillness is a gateway to becoming a portal. The second element of becoming a portal is presence. To be a portal, you have to be fully who you are, not projecting in the future, not worrying about the past. Presence, the power of now, is the power that brings our awareness into alignment with the moment where we are, where spirit lives. We can't breathe in the past. We can't breathe in the future. We can only breathe in the present. And most of our suffering comes from time. What's going to happen in the future or what happened in the past? But right now in the present, in this present moment, when we're present, when I stop resisting, when I stop fighting what's so, and acceptance isn't resignation. We think that if I accept what's so right now, I'm resigning to it being that way. But the truth is that acceptance is the only way to unwind the tightly bound pattern of our coping mechanisms, tightly wound patterns that keep us blocked. Acceptance is the only way. Being present in this moment, being mindful in this moment, being right here, right now, not worried about the future, not lamenting or nostalgic for the past, but right now, just as it is, in this moment, we become a magnet. When we're present, people can feel it. Your presence becomes healing to them. I remember Reverend Michael saying to me many years ago, he goes, I just want people to heal by being near me. And I thought, oh, that was really beautiful. How sweet. But now I'm really understanding what he's talking about. It's that he's working to keep himself a clear channel, to be a portal. And in that way, just by being around him, people are healing. I want to talk about that next. It's called coherence. Being a portal requires internal alignment. Spirit, body, mind, and soul, right? Spirit, mind, heart, body, all saying yes. This is coherence. When everything's in alignment, there's coherence. When all your parts agree, right? When we're in agreement, our signal becomes clear. It's not static. It's like tuning a radio in, right? Back when you tuned a radio in. So you're no longer leaking energy. You're transmitting truth. So coherence, being coherent within yourself is a key to being a portal. And finally, the willingness to be used by life. One of the prayers that we say at Agape is our opening hymn is use me, oh God. I'm here for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. To be used. And there's that great song, use me till you use me up. Bow, 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 bow. That's like a love song to spirit. Use me. How can I be used when I'm in alignment to become a tuning fork, to become a signal of peace and love, to be an opening for good, for God, for love, for beauty, for intelligence, for creativity? This is the willingness to be used. It's releasing the small self and saying, I'm available. And that's really the biblical meaning of when Yeshua said, if those who lose their life for me will have eternal life. It's been kind of messed up in the Christian mythology, but really he's saying, if you give up your little life, your identity, your ego, all of this little stuff in life, and become aligned with the truth, with oneness, right? You will be, the truth of who you are is eternal already. But we have to give up our identity, our little identities. So being a portal is not a performance. It's not being perfect. It's radical openness. And if life is lived from the inside out, right, where I'm authentic, I'm choosing again and again to be a clear channel, to be an opening for the infinite to move through. This is the key to becoming a portal. So I always love to connect science with mysticism. And so quantum coherence talks about this science of transmission. Coherence, the Heart Math Institute has a beautiful study on how the heart emits an electromagnetic field, and it's measurable up to 8 feet, even larger. It's a state of being that influences the energy around us. The human heart isn't just a biological pump, it's an energetic powerhouse. And according to the Heart Math Institute, the heart produces the strongest electromagnetic field of any organ, even a larger electromagnetic field than the brain. 60 times greater amplitude than the brain. 60 times greater amplitude than the brain's electrical activity. So this field, this toric field, radiates in every direction, and it can be measured 8 to 10 feet away. And the truth is, it likely extends much further, but we don't have the tools to measure it yet. But here's where it gets interesting for us to be used as portals, that when we're in a state of coherence, meaning that our thoughts and our emotions and our nervous system are in alignment, we're regulated. When we're regulated, our heart's electromagnetic field becomes stable and organized. And a coherent field actually entrains or synchronizes the fields around it. This is the law of entrainment in quantum physics. In other words, your inner state influences the external electromagnetic environment. You're literally broadcasting whatever's inside of you: peace, clarity, joy, fear, anger, resentment. What are you broadcasting? It's not just a metaphor, it's electrophysiology. And studies show that when someone's regulated and heart-centered, and they enter a room, it can actually help lower the stress level and regulate the physiology of others in the room, even without words, even without touch. This is how powerful. In quantum language, your coherence becomes a tuning fork. Okay, let's use the metaphor of a tuning fork. If I have a tuning fork and it's tuned to G, and I have another tuning fork tuned to G, I hit this tuning fork and it entrains without touching the other. It entrains it, and this one starts vibrating like that one. We're tuning forks. We're divine tuning forks. And when you're in a coherent state, aligned heart, body, and spirit, the field becomes like a tuning fork. You become a tuning fork in the field, not through your words, not through your actions, but just through your being. It's almost like, imagine if a 4-year-old or 5-year-old walked into the room. They don't have to do anything. They're just being them. And you probably get joy from them being them. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to be smart. They don't have to be witty. They don't have to be funny. They're just like, hey, how you doing? And you're like, oh my God. They're like a divine tuning fork. So when we say you're becoming a portal, we're saying that when you attune yourself, when you attune your field so clearly, you actually influence those around you. And it's not fixing or forcing, it's just being, it's just vibrating the truth. There's another scientific basis for this, and it's mirror neurons and neuroplasticity. So, we have these highly developed, specialized brain cells called um, mirror neurons, and they perform an action when they're observing somebody. And these neurons are based on empathy and emotional resonance. So, the process is also known as co-regulation. And when it's combined with the brain's neuroplasticity, which is our ability to rewire our responses to experience, it means that my peaceful, heart-centered presence can actually help repattern someone else's internal state simply by being with them. They're automatically tuned to mirror back. That's part of our physiology. And then finally, quantum physics talks about the observer effect, that we actually shift reality with our awareness. Now, we literally tune reality in. The observer effect reveals that through observation, that potentiality gets collapsed to a specific outcome. Through observation, a potential gets collapsed into a specific outcome. So spiritually, that means that when we shift our inner awareness, what we focus on, what we believe in, those are the words, it is done to us as we believe. It's true. What we focus on, what we think about, we bring about. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. We're not just, what we focus on and believe on and expect is not just changing our perception, but we're actually tuning the field around us. When we are aligned, we actually can collapse the potential, because potential exists, into an outcome. So consciousness isn't passive, okay? It's participatory. And we're co-shaping what materializes around us simply by how we observe and relate to it. So becoming a portal means that we're not subject to the field. We actually broadcast into it. Becoming a portal means I'm no longer a victim to circumstance and condition. It doesn't mean that I'm insensitive to what's going on, but I can actually, through my beingness, through me being aligned and centered and knowing that no matter what the appearances are, something wonderful is seeking to emerge. No matter what the circumstance is, everything always works out. Everything is always working together for good. Everything is that all my needs are met. As I'm focusing on that, I'm tuning the field around me I'm broadcasting that into the field. And the law of the field, the activity of the law says that what I put in, I get out. It's the nature of the universe is reflective. It reflects back exactly what we're putting in. So those are like the mirror neurons, the observer effect, neuroplasticity, and coherence and entrainment are all scientific-based explanations of this spiritual principle of becoming a portal for the divine. So I love this connection between science and spirit. And finally, I want to offer some practices to you. How can what are some portal practices? So there's some simple ways to cultivate portal consciousness. And once you've healed, once you have come back to a state of wholeness, that you've removed the blocks, you've cleared the window pane of all the muck and the bug stuff, once we've cleared that, now there are some practices that you can do to help cultivate this portal consciousness. And the first thing is to pause, as we pause before speaking. So oftentimes I'm jumping ahead, listening to someone and thinking what I want to say. I think we can all relate to that. But if I can pause and maybe catch a divine insight, let spirit speak through me before I speak. Give spirit a chance to speak. Let me be spoken through. Let me be acted through. When I can pause for just a moment and catch it, and we can attune ourselves, and we can, it's not easy at first, but you build this muscle to pause and catch it. And it becomes second nature. Eventually it will become embodied. The second portal practice is to what we call spiritual gossip at Agape. Spiritual gossip, meaning only speak words that uplift and align, words can activate energy. So Notice what the energy feels like in your body when you're speaking poorly about someone or gossiping about them or telling one on them, right? Feels fun sometimes. It feels a way to connect with people sometimes, but feel the energy that you bring or the energy that's coming up in your body when you do that. I can notice the difference. And so I start to catch myself and to really just speak, that old saying, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. But not just the saying of it. I'm actually catching myself thinking it, because the thought can present an energetic expression as well. So as I'm catching myself, I pause. Oh, I'm going to speak something that's uplifting. I have a thought that maybe isn't. I just go, okay, thank you. I'm not my thoughts. I have thoughts, but I'm not my thoughts. Thank you. I'm thinking. I'm going to come back to the truth. So speaking words that uplift and align, spiritual gossip is another portal practice. Anchor into gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to open the field. What we appreciate appreciates. When I appreciate something, it appreciates, it grows. Like real estate appreciates, right? When I give thanks for something, I increase it. And one of my favorite stories is, famous story of Yeshua ben Yusuf at the Sermon on the Mount. He goes out there with his buddies, right? The apostles, and they got 2 fish or 2 loaves of bread and 5 fish. And thousands of people show up. They don't have enough food. So Yeshua didn't go, oh shit, we don't got enough. He gave thanks for what he had, and it multiplied. Whether it is true or a metaphor, it is the truth that gratitude amplifies and opens the field. And we could say a laundry list of stuff that we're grateful for. But if you just said 1 or 2 things that you were really grateful for, that you felt grateful for, that's opening up the field. And then having a sacred routine. Routines help to regulate the body. And what we were talking about earlier is that regulation is a key to becoming coherent with the field. So spiritual practices is meditation, breath work, Kundalini yoga. Kundalini yoga is a wonderful way to regulate the body. Tai Chi, nature connection, meditation. I think I mentioned that. All of those are, having a morning ritual, an evening ritual, that whatever it takes to attune you, to regulate your emotional state. So many times in the morning, I don't wake up like, la, 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 la. Oh my God. A lot of times I wake up like, and I know that my meditation and my breath work and my Kundalini practice will regulate my body. And at the end of that practice, I will feel better. And it sets the tone for my day. So sacred routine is another key to becoming a portal, as we're constantly regulating ourselves, regulating our emotional body, and becoming coherent. So, in closing, I guess I want to say we don't have to figure it all out. We just have to get out of the way. You might ask yourself, where in my life am I being invited to be a portal instead of a personality? Where in my life am I invited to be a portal instead of a personality? And what would happen if I paused and let the divine speak through me? What would happen if I paused and let the divine love through me? 2 thoughts to end the talk. I'm so grateful and so thankful that you're here, and I look forward to seeing you again. I'll be here next week at the same time. Have a beautiful day. Peace and richest blessings. Thank you, thank you, thank you.